Hello everyone, we're back in New Teachings. This will be segment 4, this will be part 1 of it. My purpose on the planet. In the historical epoch prior to my birth on the planet Earth, the spiritual hierarchy and the Essene community of the Hebrew faith had already prepared the necessary channels for my birth as Jesus in the physical world. My parentage had been selected. My life blueprint was set in motion, and the events which later Christians would incorporate in their belief system began. It seemed for a short time the attention of the Middle East was focused upon one infant, one birth, one bringer of light and love. Yet, my beloved brothers and sisters, I beg you to understand that this was not an isolated event, but rather one moment in the chronology of teachings brought to the planet Earth by many high or angelic teachers. And although the Christian Bible has not acknowledged this, it was neither the first teaching nor was it the highest teaching. For later in this new epoch ahead of us, called the Aquarian or Golden Age, the highest teachings will be brought forward, even as I introduce the theme of it to you presently. In order to understand the coming of Jesus into the physical world 2,000 years ago, you must know that there was much darkness, misery, and negativity in the human heart. So much so that unless it were cleansed, the entire spiritual evolution of much of humankind might have been permanently lost. I repeat, permanently lost. To emphasize that in the heavenly realms, there was much concern about humanity's ability to return lovingly to the Creator. There was concern that humanity had forgotten God was inside them as an internal experience, not just an external identity only. The divine inspiration to heal the human heart through love and forgiveness had to be instituted before any further evolutionary opportunities could be made available. The awakening had to be seeded, so there needed to be a prophet or messenger who would remind each soul of its eternal identity, its responsibility to love God above all things, and then its brothers and sisters as itself. I will say to you that this was no easy task, for the negativity of human thoughts over eons of time had to be penetrated, and overcome by that one who entered onto earth. Other great ones have penetrated this veil of darkness, ignorance, and evil, every 400 to 700 years in one way or another, somewhere on the planet. Yet this final penetration was a desperate and urgent commitment on the part of the Christ, that one beloved of the Father-Mother, who had not abandoned those who prayed for help, from the heavenly realms where the Christ looked down. It seemed impossible to penetrate such lack of love and such egotistical personalities, desiring power over each other without God's light. I share in humility and love that there were few spiritual volunteers at that time to come to human beings with one last opportunity to cleanse their hearts and return them to the memory of the God within. Many teachers have been here, as you know. Most have been mistreated, abused, defiled, ignored, or rejected. That is why on this earth today you have separate groups of religious beliefs, brought to you at varying times. Each teacher brought the message of the good word, with the promise of redemption if you would turn within and listen to the sole voice given you at the time of creation. My task was to mentally overcome the evil and lack of love, the hatred and fear of humanity. I say to you, in sincerity and without hesitation, that had the personality called Jesus not loved you with love of the Creator, I could never have stood upon this earth and overcome the negative thoughts that were here. Without that love, there would have been no hope of success. Without that deep commitment from the light of the God within, Jesus could not have brought you the message of love and forgiveness that many long to hear. The message of the Father and Mother's plan for the Golden Age on earth. You must understand that when I walked upon this free will planet as Jesus, My desire to inspire love did not prevent the evil thoughts of human beings, or their acts of violence, their perpetrations of faithless living. Your history books before and since the coming of Jesus remind you in the most obvious ways that although this planet is a beautiful creation, it is peopled by people of darkness, whose continuing presence here cannot be allowed. My message approximately 2,000 years ago to mankind was simply this: you were created by a force or power beyond your comprehension, a spark of which resides inside of you, available at any time to guide you, protect you, and lead you ever upward from where you came, to your home in light, love, and peace. This journey of spirit awakening in the flesh was at its deepest ebb, and in heaven there was a concern that this project on the planet to create a people of balanced love and wisdom had failed. Please understand that my appearance as Jesus was chronologically timed to give humanity the example of love and forgiveness so badly needed. It was also a response of my heart, my overwhelming desire not to leave you comfortless, not to abandon you in your faith. For there are on this planet today a small percentage of believers who have, for the moment of time, and through the experience along their way, gained in the light, practiced the love, and ministered the truth. It was to these light workers' calls that I return once again, to support them, forming a vast union of loving hands, hearts, and minds, from the regions of China to the tip of Africa, from the North to the South Pole, and around the globe in all directions, as a shepherd gathering a flock. These lights could be seen and identified by the heavenly realms, in contacts made through the inner teacher's voice, which is in every being who chooses to use it, knowing that there would be these little light centers, soul points shining in the darkness scattered around the globe. Jesus came. I regret that the teachings I brought 2,000 years ago have not been understood or followed as they were intended. I will later speak of the necessity for the churches and institutions, as you know them, to analyze themselves, and to take this last opportunity to divest themselves of the need for self-aggrandizement and power. They must cooperate with all teachers of light, including myself, who remind you that the only purpose of a minister or spiritual teacher is to model love. Thus, they introduce the concept of turning within, so the inner spark of God can blaze brighter in each person. All else follows this. My mission, therefore, was to collect every soul who had ever believed in the God Creator, who practiced love over evil, who willingly cared for the others during the last 250,000 years, and to remind them that they would be given an opportunity to demonstrate self-mastery by the year 2000 AD. Now I remind you who listen that by the end of the 20th century, you can achieve self-mastery and be eligible for still higher experience in the Golden Age, since I am presently the world teacher. Having been given that office by my willingness to come among my brothers and sisters with a final offer of love and forgiveness, you can trust the intent of my message. Listen, please, with your heart and your soul. I came to you as the model of a body apparently crucified, but able to have continuing life experience after death. This is what the resurrection proved. Life continues. The resurrection is a symbol of dying to the old and awakening to the new. It means this is true for your ideals and beliefs, not just your fleshly body. And this is where we'll end this first segment.